21-22 as President. Please welcome Mr. Anurag Pravi of Batch 21-22 as President. Ms. Deeti of Batch 22-23 as Vice President. And Ms. Shainika of Batch 22-23 as Secretary. Congratulations, office bearers.
Our next session is Alumni Panel Discussion, titled Success Decoded. We invite our esteemed alumni to share their journeys, perspectives, and insights.
Welcome to Success Decoded, a conversation where our very own CS alumni will share their study habits, skills and mindsets that shape their journeys. Our alumni have always been an integral part of our school's ecosystem. We have largely benefited from them. In fact, I am the biggest beneficiary, I would say. I am a career counselor. I work in the career development services department that constantly faces with alumni. We keep calling them, we bother them, asking them about, how is it like in a particular city? How is it like in a particular university and all of that? And I should be very honest, the responses have been, it's been flowing. You just pick up your phone and talk to anybody. They're willing to share as much insights as possible. That's our strong alumni ecosystem, and we have representatives from that ecosystem here today. To set the stage, I want to give each of you a minute to introduce yourself. Please tell us your name and what you did for your undergrad or postgrad, and also tell us what you've been working on currently. Anybody can go first.
Hi, good afternoon everyone. My name is Rupika Srinivasan. I'm from the first batch of CS Academy. So for my undergrad, I did something called BBA LLB. So basically, I'm an advocate by profession. So I did law from Christ University, Bangalore. Now I'm a practicing advocate at the Madras High Court. I do mostly commercial matters, IP matters, and I help startups with their funds, raising funds and mergers and acquisitions as well. So this is a short introduction about me.
Thank you. Hi, very happy to be here. I'm Prem. I work at Zoho. So right from 12th grade, the story that you've been hearing before, right after 12th grade, I joined Zoho. I was an intern for a year, and then it's been 6 years as an employee at Zoho. I was working as a security engineer for 2 years, and then now I'm into research. I also teach in a school for advanced studies, as we call it, for the kids who come from 12th grade or who doesn't have a degree and come back to Zoho to learn and become an employee in the future. So I teach them. Apart from my work, I work in the forest department, helping rescuing animals, mostly specializing on reptiles. I love to work with snakes. I rescue snakes. I work with turtles. Things like that. I also work as an adventuring instructor. I teach surfing, kayaking, stand-up paddling. Yeah, that's about me.
What are you doing? Everybody?
My name is Valli. I graduated from CS Academy, Coimbatore, and I went to the London School of Economics. I studied economics and management over there. I finished 3 years then and I moved back here, and now I'm a corporate journalist at a company called The Ken, and I work in Bangalore.
Hello everyone, thank you so much for having me here. I'm Mohit. It always feels good to be back home. I always call CS home. And yes, so I am the founder of Mirai Spaces. We design, trade and execute interior spaces, residential and commercial across India. We're opening our franchise stores and our first franchise store just opened up last month in Salem. And our headquarters is in Bangalore, which I take care of. And I completed my undergrad from Christ University and my postgrad from Imperial College London and my master's in Innovation, Entrepreneurship and Management. Yeah.
Great. I mean, after all the introductions, very detailed from our team, to share this space with all of them. But anyway, I have a prepared set of questions that I'm going to just ask. This question I'll ask you, Ali, because I think you're the youngest in the room, I mean, at least on the stage. You just graduated from one of the world's most competitive academic environments. How or what is it like at LSE?
So this is something that I was thinking about when I got the questions yesterday. And you know how in school there are those like 2 or 3 kids in class that like literally want to do everything possible. They study, they go to sports, they do art, and they're just like insane high achievers, and it's low-key kind of annoying when you watch them. So I say that LSE is just full of kids like that. Like that is the average student at LSE. So it's a very competitive, cutthroat environment for sure. And I think for me that was really good because I have a tendency sometimes to be a bit lazy. So I think really seeing that around me inspired me to like do more. Because you think you're doing enough, then you see like somebody doing way more than you, and you're inspired to do more as well. So I would say it's very competitive and it really pushes you to excel.
That's great to know. A follow-up question on that, or about your background. You've been in banking, finance, and journalism. What is it actually like working in these environments now?
So I would say I did a few internships in finance. My predominantly work experience has been in journalism so far. I would say they're completely different environments. When you're doing something like finance, you feel like a junior employee, you're learning constantly from people above you. The skills that you develop are really technical in terms of just understanding like balance sheets and financial statements. Journalism for me has been a breath of fresh air because I think I just found that very tedious. And I think my skills really lie in communicating and understanding and learning from people. So I think the kind of skills I developed in journalism have been more soft skills in terms of understanding different industries, talking to people. But both are extremely competitive. Like in finance, you have to make sure that you're always like on it. And in journalism, you're constantly under pressure to come up with new article ideas, pitch them to your seniors, write about them within like a set deadline. So very fast-paced again. I found myself in fast-paced environments my whole life. So.
Okay. Prem, the question for you. Students imagine tech jobs as coding or gaming. Right? You are in cybersecurity. What is something very surprising about cybersecurity that children today do not expect?
It might just come as a surprise for you guys, but coding is probably 10% or 5% of what I do every day. Mostly it's the same for all developers. It's the 90% of work is to look at the logs. It's just a black or green screen with text that is like millions of lines of text, and you have to just run through these logs and see if there's any abnormalities, any log that shouldn't appears, and just run through all of these. That's 90% of the work. And when you're studying programming, it's mostly you write all of the code. You write everything, you learn the flow, you completely are aware of the flow. But when you work in a software company, there are thousands of predecessors who worked on that product, and there are millions of lines of code that are not yours. So most of the time is sitting with the peer developers, looking at the flow, looking at the code, understanding what this does, where it breaks, trying to fix it, and sitting in a room together in the whiteboard, thinking about the structure, the frameworks that needs for the code to work, the code to scale up. So these are the predominant things that we do. So coding is probably the 10%, and that 10% is right now completely written by AI, and we just monitor it.
Rupika, question for you. We tend to take or associate law to court, right? What are the other career paths in law? If you're not going to court, what else would you be doing?
So law is actually comprised of completely different fields altogether. So when we think of what a traditional lawyer would be, if you ask our parents' generation or the previous generation, they only think that, like you said, it's going to court and defend criminals, and they say lawyers are liars, and you are generally find these terms associated with a lawyer. So now with evolving space, the environment is ever so changing. So now, so what I do wasn't there in my previous generation, it wasn't there. So what I do now is IP. So IP is more nuanced law, and it's more developing now, with especially with the advent of AI and with celebrities like Amitabh Bachchan, Aishwarya Rai all filing for personality rights. So that's a completely new advent of space. So with AI and IP, so that's together a new space. So every year or every generation we see new sectors coming up every time. So there's something called construction law. So it is only has to do with construction of buildings. So there are more nuanced laws, and so with all of these, there are more career opportunities in the sense that you have to, so there is something called policy making. So when all of these different sectors of law come in place, you need laws in place, right? So like with this policy making, you help the lawmakers of the country come up with policies, say what are the laws that should be in place, what are the difficulties that are being faced by public. So that's a different sector. You can go into research. So research is basically into writing more and more academic papers. So that's an academic line that is a possible career opportunity. The other is corporate, where you help companies regulate their regulatory work, their compliances. So that's a whole different sector altogether. And you have registrations, which have like basically land registrations or like IP registrations in fact. So there are like plethora of opportunities, and possibly failing my words to like possibly describe, that's how huge the law sector is. So it is not the traditional sense that you make, okay, lawyers are someone who go to court. Yes, I am a practicing advocate, I do go to court, but I do have, so contract writing, I do have like various skills that are attached to it. So the traditional sense of lawyer or an advocate is so varied now compared to what it was.
Okay. As a follow-up to that question, I think you process large amounts of information, or you need to be doing a lot of reading. And now, because AI and all based on these language learning modules and all that, do you see some parts of your job being largely replaced, especially the junior lawyers' jobs being replaced by artificial intelligence?
Unfortunately or fortunately, I belong to the old school of thought. I, for once, do not subscribe to the idea of AI being. Why I do feel that way is because, like experts were mentioning, Vikram sir specific mentioned the decline of cognitive ability. I see that happening before my eyes. Fortunately for me, while I started my practice when I was in college, AI wasn't even a thing, like it wasn't as popular as it is now. So I did my assignments, I did my research on my own. So the batch of students that are coming out now, I feel that they are not able to think independently. So law in specific is a career path that needs you to have analytical skills, critical thinking, interpretive skills, and interpersonal skills. All of that are extremely important. So being a lawyer is just not, just going through amounts of data. So as a practicing advocate, I also need to be effectively be able to present my case before a judge. I need to be able to shortly, crisply present it before a judge so that he understands as well. So there are a lot of skills involved which I think that AI is not able to measure up to. That being said, I do have a lot of juniors in my office who use AI, and I can very well see that it's being AI used. So as with regards to where critical thinking is not involved, AI is definitely usable, and it is definitely being used. Of course, with privacy laws in place, we need to be careful about what you put in the AI, like ChatGPT, Perplexity, whatever platform that is. But like I said, I do not subscribe to usage of AI because I think you need to develop that skill, right? With AI, I feel that it's rapidly developing. You thinking, okay, if I'm being presented with a case, right? So I need to be able to see what are the facts, what are the issue, what is the law for that issue, and how can I interpret the law to fit and help my client. So that, fortunately or unfortunately, AI hasn't measured up yet, but that's about the usage of AI that I can possibly tell you. That it can possibly summarize something for me, but it can't do the critical thinking that I do.
Great. That's a fabulous answer. I think there's some work still left for us, isn't it? Mohit, first question to you. Entrepreneurship actually looks very glamorous from the outside. What was your first, oh wow, this is harder than I thought moment?
Yeah, so Instagram has made it feel like entrepreneurship is everything, it's everyone's cup of tea. I hope it is, But it's a very lonely journey when you're doing it alone. There are times when you wake up and you're not motivated enough to go to office or just get some work done, right? But then you have to realize the kind of impact that you make in everyone's life. I'm not talking about a social impact, I'm just talking about impact just being there in the office and then tens and hundreds of people just looking at you, and if sir is doing what he's doing, then you also need to get the job done, right? And that has a ripple effect. So that keeps me going. But then the biggest factor was I've been in a family business all my starting career, right? I've always had a backbone with my father, my uncle, who's always been a guiding force throughout my entrepreneurship journey. And when I went to Bangalore a year back, and I had to start everything on my own, right? There are no thoughts of, oh, is this right or wrong? There is no one telling me, oh, this might be the right decision, this might be the wrong decision. It's all about the decisions I make. I'm accountable, I'm responsible for the decisions I make. So that is a very, very tough thing to have on yourself. And on the 5th of every month, you need to make sure everyone's accounts are credited with their salaries. The rent is paid by your hook, right? I need to make sure if even my account is like nil right now, I need to make sure by 5th or 4th night, the account needs to have that much amount. So that no one is going back home saying we didn't get our salary because they are running their lives on that salary. All of those responsibilities drive me, and for that responsibility, like when you think of entrepreneurship, it's very glamorous. So I'm going to become a billionaire, I'm going to get a sports car, I'm going to do this and that. But these small things, which have so much impact, takes a big toll on you as such. So that's why.
Yeah, I mean, it's very difficult when you are the one who should be inspiring other people and not search for inspiration, isn't it? Yeah, great. Yeah. William, coming back to you. What early skill or mindset that you had helped you break into these competitive spaces? Be it banking or journalism.
I think two mainly. The first was, this might not really cliche, but believing in yourself. Like there are a lot of moments where you might feel like someone is way better than you, or way smarter than you, or talks way better than you. And it's easy to sort of count yourself out of the competition even before. And I feel like that mindset I did have like initially, and it got me nowhere because when you feel like you can't do it, you just end up not doing it. So I think the most important thing is just believing that you can do it, you belong to that room, and you're not any less than the people around you. So definitely having that mindset, because having kind of, in my opinion, and I can't do it mindset is not going to get you anywhere. The second thing is I agree with Mohit. There will be days, many days, where you just don't feel like working and your mindset is just not fully motivated. And the most important thing is doing what you have to do anyway, regardless of how you feel in that moment. Because there are a lot of people who, have random bouts of inspiration, random bouts of motivation, and they work for maybe like a week or two and then like give up on whatever it is. So it's just about once you commit to something, sticking through those slumps and making sure that you do it even when you don't feel good. So I would say those are the two most important mindsets.
Great. For a moment you sounded like your mother. Prem, you're constantly learning new languages and tools. How should a student decide what to start with if somebody is interested in breaking into technology?
In a broader sense, I think it's detrimental to choose what you want to be. If you ask me what I am, I have no answer right now. I do technology, I am in the wildlife field. I don't know what to do, and I do a lot of small things in various domains, and that has helped me too. Something that I learned from a random domain has helped me excel in another domain. For example, when I surf, I look at the waves, I patiently wait for a wave that comes to me, and when I go back to my office, when I sit in my desk and I work, I have that patience to wait. All of these things, come together, it will help you, and if you choose something very early in your life, you kind of put your mind to that, and you focus on that, and you miss out on all the other opportunities that might come to you. I also saw a student earlier, I think she was in grade 7, and she said, I want to become, what are my career options? I don't know what my career options are. I finished 12 like 7 years ago, and I still don't know what my career is going to be. So I think having that open mindset is very important in life. And when I finished my 10th grade and I was moving to my 11th grade, I didn't know which stream to choose. I was very good in biology, but doctor as a profession was scary to me. To be there 24/7 in a hospital was something that I didn't want to do. So what I did was, after my 10th grade, I went and worked as a volunteer in a dispensary for a couple of weeks, and I was 100% sure that I didn't want to be a doctor. And then I worked as a intern in a small lawyer's office. I was a person who will be writing all the details when when a new client comes in, and they call it kumasta. I also get to go inside the court with the advocate. My only work was I have the case files and I'll sit behind the advocate, and when the case number comes, I just stand up, say Vaida, sit down. That was my that was my only work. And then when the only case that was in the day that's happening, when the advocate says I'm submitting the article number 25A or something like that, I'll be standing behind the advocate. I'll just walk in, give that and come back. So that was my work. I also didn't like that space. I didn't want to do that. I had a very nice career guidance counselor when I was in school. I think the person I am was 100% shaped up by her. And she helped me get a small internship volunteering role in a software company in Europe. I worked there for a couple of weeks and I loved it. And that's when I knew I had to take up math computer science so that I could do something in that field. And when I finished 12th grade, I had a couple of options to go abroad. I got into Michigan State University, I got into Georgia Tech, things like that, and I also got a small job offer here. And I was, doubtful whether to, pursue this or that and things like that. It's always good to have that. It's always good to have options, and it's fun, to learn new stuff all along, not just, focusing on one thing. I would definitely suggest to keep your options open, even in your area.
My options. Okay. So you do Python coding, you handle Python as well as
Very true, very true. Yeah.
Rupika, what skill beyond textbook knowledge makes a young lawyer stand out today? Do you think it's been covered already?
So I think when this question was there, I was pondering on what skills possibly I had that possibly makes me stand out amongst my colleagues, amongst my contemporaries. So I think, recently for a video for school, I had spoken about how the school has helped me who I've become today. So because I think I must be one of the luckiest person on the stage right here, because I was the first batch of the school. So I think I was super lucky, because be it Sitaram ma'am or Vikram sir, they were so open to ideas. Like us as students, we wanted to do 100 different things, and they were so accommodative. They said, you want to do this, go ahead. You want to do that, go ahead. Let's do this, let's do that. And that gave us a space to help us discover who we are. Right? So, and it also gave me a space to really develop my, be it cultural activities or sports. And, so there was a platform be it debates, be it just a minute sessions, and oratory skills. All of these skills I feel this school helped me develop because I was participating in so many competitions, right? Any competition, like I think my colleagues here, they would agree, I will be there, right? I will be any competition it is, like anything, I will be there, and I wanted to participate and possibly explore myself. And so this skill, right? So this skill of you being able to communicate to people, so that is extremely important. Like you may not be academic wise, you may not be the best student, but if you're able to put your case in front of a judge, and if the judge understands you, that's all that matters. The judge is going to give you the order that you want. So that is a skill that is extremely important. Communication. How are you able to present your case, or how are you able to solve something? So the second part of it is definitely, like I mentioned before, interpretative skills and analytical skills. Because clients come with us to a problem, right? Obviously, things are very well realized and will come to us. So when there is a problem, how I'm looking to is how do I solve that problem for them? So to get that solution, I need to understand what the problem is and apply it to the laws that are there in place. And see, I'm not suggesting that break the laws, but we'll have to bend the laws in such a way that it's obviously ethical and it is lawful, but at the same time see how I can adapt it to solve my client's problems. So these are like extremely two important skills that any lawyer or any law student that should have. So this is not very specific to profession as an advocate. It applies to policy making, like I mentioned, the other possible career opportunities. So if you want to be a researcher, academic researcher, or a policy maker, you need to understand what the problem is, and you need to be able to have the analytical skills to be able to solve that problem. So these are the two important skills that I think anyone who is, not just remotely interested in law, but be it any profession, like the experts were talking about how you need to really think and see how you can critically solve the problem using whatever skills that you may have. So these are the skills that I feel is very important, and very, very thankfully for me, I can 100% with full confidence say that only the school has inculcated that habits in me.
Actually, sure, if Mohit, you work across business, design, and design, right? How can students build multidisciplinary thinking early? Yeah, today's about multidisciplinary.
Join CS.
One more answer.
I completely agree with Rupika, right? Because we were the second batch after her, and we have same liberty with the executive directors here. We used to enter the cabin and be like, ma'am, you want to go for everyone. Like, go ahead. But we have an exam the next day. It's okay. It's okay. What's the biggest thing that's going to happen? You can retake the exam, but everyone is not going to come again, right? So go ahead and do that. So for me, the most important part of CS and how CS built me as a person was that it gave me opportunities. It gave me opportunities that even I didn't know existed or I wanted, right? Giving the same example as Rupika about competitions, my mom also has been a driving force behind this, right? We had competitions every Saturday or every alternate Saturday, right? We had competitions, and I still remember this. We had curricular competition. I'm a North Indian. Tamil is not my native language, right? I learned Tamil by being in the state, being in the city. I used to participate in curricular competitions just because, right? And that taught me that there's nothing I can't do, right? That belief is very important. There's nothing I can't do. Just because I have done BBA doesn't mean that I can't go and learn AI or I can't just go and learn coding. As because I was also saying, it's as easy as just going to YouTube and learning something, right? Everything is accessible at this point. So having that belief that even I can do what anyone on this stage can do, right? But it's also making sure that you're consistent about it. And then the next thing is CS Fed. I still have vivid memories about CS Fed. We were, I think, the first batch to have CS Fed, where we were told, run this business. You don't know if it's going to be a profit-making thing, it's going to be a loss-making thing, you have no clue. You have an idea, you set up the stall, can be a game stall, can be a cookery stall, And you just need to make sure that the clients are happy. We realize that these are things you have to do. It's just not having the right product. It is having the right system of doing things. You need to make sure it's all accounted for, your ingredients are right, your customers are happy, the after sales service is also right. So all of those things are have built me as a businessman today, right? I've learned how to talk to strangers because of these interactions that I had. I also have one vivid memory. I'm sorry, I'm doing a very flashback of sorts here. Always good to have that. So I still remember I was there near the reception area, and then Siddharth was just walking through, and we had a charity. We were selling flags, not selling flags. We were just asking for donations for everyone, right? It's her school, it's her charity. We just contributing to that charity by volunteering. And I went to her and like, ma'am, you have to do it. She's like, boy, this is my charity. We're doing this for the school. And she still did. And that, for me, that was a big win. Like, if I can make the executive director actually contribute, then I'm sure I can ask any other stranger from visiting to also contribute to the charity. So those are small wins, right? So again, reconnecting with all of these points that were made on the stage, having those interpersonal skills. A lot of people talk about not going to school or not going to colleges to get an education. A lot of podcasts, a lot of YouTube videos nowadays propagate not getting in a master's degree or not even getting an undergrad degree. Parents over here need to understand that, even students at this point need to understand that there's only so much YouTube can teach you, right? You're not going to school, you're not going to say a London university for the education. The education is the byproduct of it. You're going to make connections. You're going to learn about different cultures. You're going to learn how to talk to different people across the world confidently and making sure that your point is heard, right? I used to, in Beale College London, because I was doing entrepreneurship, we used to have startup fest every couple of weeks. We were doing presentations after presentations in front of thousands of people, right? I was in a group of native English speakers. We had Britishers, we had Germans, we had Americans, and for them English is just the flow of language. For us, it's not. I will think in Hindi and then I will communicate in English, because for me, my mother tongue is Hindi. But then, out of 10 people in the group, I used to be the presenter. I won so many awards. We won thousands of pounds because of the presentation, right? And then my friends, Native Americans, Native English speakers, they used to come and be like, how are you doing this? You're an Indian. I didn't take it as a racist comment. I just thought, oh, they're very curious as to how we're doing this. And I'm always thinking back, oh, this is what CS is doing to me. If the foundation was not built, if the foundation of being able to speak in front of a crowd, that was not built, then I would not be doing what I'm doing. So all kudos to every faculty or non-faculty and the executive directors to actually giving us the liberty to do so. So yeah, thank you so much again.
Thank you, Mohit. The next question was about the skill capability school, but I think everybody's covered that bit, so I'm going to skip that question and go to the next one. But now I think me and Mali are kind of feeling it. Given CS point of view, right?
Wali was CS hero.
Oh, no, man.
4 years.
Okay, so this is one question I want to ask. So all of you said what you did at school. What would you have done differently in school? I mean, if you want to go back and study in the school all over again, what would you have done differently? Anybody can go first.
I would love to, relive all of those years all again. But I don't think there's anything that I would have done differently. It was amazing, just as Mohit said. But I would contradict a small point from Mohit. He said, I'm a terrible Tamil speaker. That is not right. That is definitely not right. Because, and the things that he learned here, he went and, talked to people. The same things that he learned in school, I think he applied after coming back from London. So we constantly keep in touch, and I've known him before starting Mirai Spaces. He was in his job here working, and he used to go door to door. He used to go to every construction space out there and talk to them in Tamil and get clients. And that's something that's amazing that I never seen anybody else do that. And I also go talk to a lot of schools and colleges, and I work as an evangelist also. So when I do that, I see a lot of contradicting things that I grew up with in my schooling and in the other schools that I go talk. I don't think any other school will give like 4 months of on duty in your 11th grade. I was on duty for 4 months when I was in my 11th grade. And we went to this challenge called Young India Challenge, which was hosted in IIT Delhi when I was in my 11th grade. And our school was the only school to get selected ever. There was only college students who were attending the event, and we were the first school gets to get selected.
We were the youngest then.
We were the youngest then. Mood was also there with me at YSC. And myself and Narini, we were the youngest to win that challenge that year. And I think we still hold the youngest to win the challenge thing still. And I go back to YIC every year as a mentor now. And every year I see some other CS kid, joining YIC. And the moment they say I'm from CS Academy, it's thousands of kilometers away from our home. Most of them don't know what CS Academy is, but right there in IIT Delhi, if they say CS Academy or if they say BBB, everybody turns and say wow. I've literally experienced that every single year because SRCC, for example, is a very hard college to crack, and almost all of our commerce students go and study at SRCC, and they astonish us. And I think the core fundamentals of our school is built on that. Giving on duties in 11th grade. I remember going to Amritsar to get permission for extra 2 hours after the school to play volleyball and in my 11th grade, in my 12th grade. And I think the admissions in the US that I got were all on these factors than my marks that I scored in my 12th grade. The YIC thing, the state awards in my volleyball, all of these was the deciding factor that I got placed in all of those universities abroad. I wouldn't have gotten all these if I not studied in CS.
So you wouldn't change anything?
I wouldn't change anything.
Okay.
Might be one thing, maybe a boring answer as well. We have art of living. Siddharth was the biggest propagator of art of living. And believe me, as a kid, as a student on that side, we used to not like it. I mean, come on, you're 8 in the morning, you're doing breathing exercises. It was not did not feel good thing, right? But right now, I know all of my breathing exercises actually helps me.
Yeah,
right? Exactly, right? I know what Surya Namaskar is, and I want to do Surya Namaskar every morning. I want to do it as a different thing, but still, I do want to do Surya Namaskar. And that's one thing, I think the students over here, if they're able to at least get the mindset a little bit, then maybe art of living might not feel like it's very important at the moment, but believe me, I'm just 25, but art of living for me has been a game changer, right? So meditation, breathing exercises, just doing the simple exercise. It's not just doing exercise, the discipline and the commitment of it. For me, if I'm able to use this platform to change that little bit of mindset over here for all the students here, then I'd like to do that. Yes.
You've done the damage and done enough damage control.
To add to it, I used to, honestly, I'm very sorry to say this, but I used to bunk a lot of art of living classes. I used to sit in the computer lab and program. I used to bunk a lot of art of living classes, but right now, I went cliff diving in Markala and broke my hand. I had a surfing accident and broke my other hand. I have an L6 dislocation because I jumped out of a truck. And now, because of the doctors, I'm forced to go back to art of living, and I have to do yoga every morning right now. So if had I not learned art of living back then, I would have suffered now.
Yes, karma, you did that.
Yeah. So basically, CS has formed us as a human, economically, socially, and discipline is falling.
Great.
I think one more thing I just wanted to add was, I think to the benefit of the educators here, I think I should have possibly maybe focused on my academics a bit more. Possibly, just slightly possibly. For me as a student when I was here, I was too focused on sports and extracurricular activities. And yes, it has helped me because when I need a break from my extremely hectic work schedule, because I work 12 hours a day, minimum I work 12 hours a day. And when I need a break from it, I do, opt for, thankfully, I learned basketball when I was here, I learned swimming. So these are the extracurricular activities that help me be sane. Like that's how basic it helps. But academics, yes, possibly I should have focused a bit more. I mean, I didn't have the benefit of bunking classes, but sure, I'll believe that. But I didn't have the benefit of bunking classes. I used to listen to the classes, but let's put a double quotes on the words listen. So maybe if I had, actually paid attention in class, maybe there were some things that could have picked on which could have helped me, currently. But that being said, all my teachers, I love them to my heart. Whoever taught me, they are so very close in person to me, and I am very closely personal with them. And I think I can just confidently say, I don't think there would be any teacher who didn't know who I am. So that's how close and personal I was with each and every one of them in school. So, I mean, possibly, like I said, possibly paid and more attention to the classes.
Mali, don't talk about gadgets. I would love using a mobile phone. It's not the answer.
So actually, I think it's great that I did not have a mobile phone. But for me, I think routine mainly. In school, like during school, there would be like a set, like 7 hours, you do this, that. But once I went home, I would sometimes just not know what to do, where to start. And my parents, like, they live their life with routine. Like, they're like, 5 a.m. to 5:15, I do this, 5:15 to 6, I do this. And like, everything is organized. Like, 7 to 7:30, I will chat with my daughter. Like that. And then, like, once that's done, she'll have to go, like, it's time. So, I think I really had to learn that. In school, I did not have that. Like, I would waste 3 hours doing absolutely nothing, like just sitting and scrolling on like the laptop or something like that. So I would say, like, if you can build a study table or you can build a timetable for after school, it is so helpful because you will just understand just how much time you have in a day. And I did not do that. So I would say 100%. That is the main thing. Yeah.
I'm just going to say one last thing. One last thing would be do it, right? Because the platform that you have till 12th grade, there are no repercussions of what you're doing, right? Just you're thinking about something, might as well go and do it. You have the platform, we have a school like this where you can actually come to the executive directors, you can come to the principal, all the HOD, and just be like, I actually want to pursue this, I'm going to do this. So use the platform as much as you can, use the resources that you're being given as much as you can. I think that would be my last piece of advice to the students.
So we're closing here, is it? There's one more question. So I am the moderator.
I'm used to, I'll be honest with you, I'm very used to your position.
I know, I know my job. Okay. A quick personal habit or study habit that you had in school that you found the most useful. Very quickly.
Okay, I'll start with this. Listening in class, I'm sure Rubika doesn't agree, but listening in class, I'm the person who will take notes on paper and pen. Even in my master's in London, everyone is typing. Everyone around me, 80 people are typing, and the only person who is writing. For me, that has stuck with me. Listening in class, because I think half your education, half your study, half your academics can be done just because you're listening to the professor, you're listening to the teacher. You don't have to go back, maybe you can revise, but you don't have to go back and read the entire text because you're listening. Because I'm a very audio-visual person. If I'm listening something, I'm not forgetting it. So, that would be.
Very good. Yes.
So one skill, I mean, it's very basic, it's reading. Although when I say it, it sounds very basic, like what do you mean by reading? It's just words, right? But in my profession, on an everyday basis, I at least read a minimum of 100 pages a day, a minimum. But when you read a paragraph, you need to be able to learn to pick up what are the important words. So that I feel like is a skill that needs to be learned for students to be able to, study more effectively. So even though you have like a vast curriculum, you have thousands of books, pages to go through, learn how to read a paragraph. There could be a lot of noise that are not as important. You need to be able to summarize the paragraphs into pointers. So that will help your reading ability. So I feel like this skill is a very important skill that a student can pick up and learn, which can help in their studies.
Great.
I would say that I got to network a lot. I got to know how to talk to people, how to go address them, how to stand in a stage and talk to the public. And as Mohit said, college is a very great place to network. You will get a lot of connections. I'm sure most of the networks that you have right now are formed in your college. And I went to a work space right after my 12th grade. So I had to go to a lot of events to get that network. I had to socialize outside my work. I had to go to a lot of events, go to a lot of meetups, go to hackathons, and I had to find my connections there. So I think if I was not a people person, if CS had not made me a people's person, I think I wouldn't have gathered all these networks, these connections. Because the primitive way was not my way. I didn't get to do that. So I think this helped me manage that.
So you don't regret going to college?
No way.
The funny part is, his parents have so much degree, more than the degrees that we have.
Right, yeah. I think my dad and mom collectively have like 13 degrees together.
So you have degrees at home.
Both of them are postdoctorates.
Yes, Mani. So study habits that you found most useful. Study or any personal habits.
I think for me, this is something that I picked up from my dad. There's just so much content that you have to remember in all these subjects that I'm sure you guys know. It helps not to think of each chapter and each topic separately. So what I would do is I would try to basically connect everything in my head, sort of like a mind map that makes sense. And the entire subject would be like that. So I wouldn't be like, oh, chapter 13 is about this, chapter 12 is about this, chapter 10 is about this. Instead, I would be like, oh, like I've learned this about the macroeconomy, for example, in economics, or I've learned this about calculus and math. So try to build a mind map of what you understand rather than trying to like memorize each and every chapter separately, is what I would say.
And that's a brilliant strategy. I think I've learned this from many people. I'm glad it worked for you. I think with this, we are at the end of the questions that I prepared. But, I can leave the floor open for questions from the audience now.
So other than I-Stream students, CBSE students have board exams on 10th and 12th grades, and some people of the society think that it's the determinants of your future. So what would you say to students who face such pressures?
And you come with your parent and your parent is
No, my parent is not here.
See, unfortunately, can I answer that?
Yes.
Unfortunately, I think board exams do sort of lay a foundation. You don't have to think that it's your everything or your end goal. You need to think of it as a foundation. Do I need to have a strong foundation for my future, for my life? Yes. So you need to change your mindset. Don't think of it as a pressure, like, it's not the end of it. So it's okay, even if you score less marks, it's okay. But go into the mindset that you're building a foundation. So what can I do to build my foundation? So be 10th grade exams or 12th grade exams. So 10th grade possibly determines what stream you might want to take, right? So see how you can build towards that. Change your mindset and possibly that will help you cope up with your stress. And I hope this helps.
Yes, the societal pressures that you're talking about is majorly to at home, your mother and father telling you 10th and 12th, and then peers, because people around you are actually studying, they actually want to get the scores. The important thing to realize over here, I might get a little schooled by the teachers here, but then your 10th is literally just a test, right? It is helping you to understand how you're going to give your both for your 12th grade, right? So your 10th marks are not that important. Your 10th is a test for yourself. Where do I stand in preparing myself for 12th board exams, right? Your 10th is basically to understand what my weak points are, what my major points, good points are, my strengths and everything, while writing a written test or doing a viva, right? So use 10th as a testing board, try it out. See what works for you, see what doesn't work for you, but make sure that that is not the end of the world, right? Infamously said that paper is not going to judge you for the future. It's just a paper at the end of the day, right? So don't dishearten yourself if you're not getting that A out of A. It's okay if you're getting a B or a C. It's okay. It's not the end of the world. But it's important that you're resilient enough and you're consistent enough to make sure that you wait for that C back to A and realize what your weaknesses are, right? So just make sure that the peers around you are not pressuring you, oh, C is a bad thing. C is not a bad thing, right? Just give me an example right here. Imagine the hundreds and thousands of people are doing their undergrads and their postgrads. This lad has gone and said, I don't want to do undergrad. Imagine the amount of pressure on this lad. If he doesn't succeed in life, that's what he is. If he didn't succeed in life, everyone on this earth would blame that he didn't do his undergrad, right? So it's okay, take the risk, and it's not the end of the world. Just keep that in mind.
What was your grade score?
You got perfect score 10 on 10.
I got perfect score.
Thank you.
He was that, so he said two pressure, right? One is from your parents and your second pressure is from the people around you who study well. My pressure was
More questions? There's one more.
Ma'am, what tips would you like to give to the young ones who wants to become a lawyer?
Okay, so I think like Sir had pointed out, like the experts had pointed out, I think one major tip I can give you, if possible, see and like something Prem had did, right? Like see if you can actually do an internship, possibly spend weekends with a lawyer and see how it is. It is, I mean, on the outside, yeah, lawyers do, you know, their income skyrocketing. Per appearance fees is like, so in that way financially it's extremely lucrative, but you also need to understand that there goes a huge amount of background work to it. So if you want to become a lawyer, I think the only tip that I can give you is for you to actually experience it. Because no matter how I describe it, I think I would fail in my words to actually describe it. But if possible, please do, like, you know, any lawyer, just spend a weekend with them, see how they work, and you will majorly understand what it is to be a lawyer. And like I mentioned before, when you're in school, please do participate in as much of co-curricular activities as you can. Sports as well, and especially go on a stage, speak to your peers, you know, speak to an audience, speak as much as you can. That is a really important skill because it gives you a lot of confidence. Like, it can make you feel like you can rule the world. That is the confidence that you need to succeed in any career, not just a lawyer, right? You can succeed in any career, so you need to have that confidence. So while you're in school, participate, do things, and, like, you know, be at the upfront of it. Be innovative, be a thinker, you need to be original, be true to yourself. So in school, possibly that's what you should be focusing on, and possibly hone your skills of how analytical, critical thinking, and definitely I would suggest that you spend a weekend or whatever time you have, possibly your holidays, with a lawyer, see how they work, and possibly that will help you.
Just adding on to it, I'm sorry, it was not my answer to here. Just one thing. Just because you're a 10th grader or 12th grader or 11th grader, don't think that you're just a small person who can't go to a lawyer, you can't go to an entrepreneur or an architect just to get that shadow of work, right? Believe me, humans love preaching, right? When they see kids around, they love to have people, oh, I can teach these students, right? So they would love to have 10th, 11th, 12th graders as long as you don't disturb their workflow. So please feel free to approach as many people as you can. Out of 10 people, I'm sure at least 2 people will say yes. So please feel free to do it.
And looking for a lawyer, become a working industry.
If I may, one small thing. So about these, volunteering, there's a small disclaimer to it as well. I did everything that I know, everything that I learned, I started from volunteering. But volunteering is not something like you go to a software company and you say you volunteer, you sit as a software engineer along with them. No, that's not the work. you carry papers from one to other. If you go work, I currently own 30% of a production company. But to do that, I started as a person who checks the ticket of the people and sends them in. I was a software engineer back then, but I didn't feel like I shouldn't do that. I went stood in almost all of these stand-up comedy events. I checked the tickets and I let them in. That was my first job when I volunteered. Then I learned sound engineering. I set up mics for the event. Then I learned light engineering. I set up lights for events like these. Only then I understood how a production works. I worked in production and then I invested in that company. Coming to surfing, I volunteered as a lifeguard. My work was to stand there at the beach and see if anybody is drowning, just go there, swim, pick them up and come to the shore. That was my work for the first couple of months. Only then I was allowed to teach bodyboarding. Only then I was allowed to teach surfing, things like that. So you should be able to do grunt works. You should do these jump works. Once you do that, you get knowledge in return. And knowledge is like the real world knowledge with actual data from the world. You can't get these anywhere. You should not shy yourself from doing these grunt work. You should be ready to do that as well. That's something that I would like to say.
There's one more question. Many more questions.
I have a question. So the question I would ask is actually followed by two of the people here as well.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So as middle schoolers moving on to high school, we sort of think it's a bit intimidating to figure out your life and communicate in college and move on, choose a subject. So we would like to know a bit of your piece of information, whether is it as intimidating as we think it is when we go to college, or we'd like a piece of advice from you.
I mean, it's possibly again a very cliche advice. I just took life as it came. I did do planning. That being said, I did draw like a broad structure of possibly what my life should be, and having that saying taking life as it is, it's okay, right? Like Mohit had mentioned, like it's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to get a grade C in your exam paper. It is all okay because as long as you have a broader scheme in your life, right? You've mapped out what your life should be or just a trajectory of what your life should be, and that is all that you need. So don't worry about going to high school. I understand it's extremely pressurizing, but just take it as it comes. Take one day as it is. If first hour you have math class, just listen to math class. Just the second you have science, just be in the moment, experience it. That's, I think, the advice that I can give you.
I second that.
Yeah, I absolutely second that. Another thing I feel like, for me at least, when I was going to high school, there was suddenly just so much drama happening, in class, just mean girls, etc., people talking about you. So I feel like that also can be very intimidating and overwhelming. I don't know if that was part of your question, but I think